Welcome back. It's Hayes with CheatSheetPros.com. Today's Tuesday, February 8th, 2022. We're going to look at some NBA prize picks and player props for this evening. As always, if you'd like to check out our NBA cheat sheets, they're in our Facebook group. The link is in the description. On Thursdays and other random days of the week, I'll pop them in there. And we're doing a lot more videos in 2022, so make sure to go ahead and hit subscribe below so you can get the latest video with the most detail. So let's go ahead and get started. So as always, we're going to pull up the NBA cheat sheet. As always, we have the sports betting and fantasy information over here, but we're going to focus on player props. So these three tabs over here, the props, the last seven, and DVP are what we're going to focus on. What we're doing on the last seven tab is we're comparing the current projections versus the last seven average for the player. The reason is most websites that do player projections just takes their daily projection plus or minus a half or one, depending upon if they get a lot of money loaded on one side. But if you find players over the last week or 2 weeks that are averaging way over that number, that is a spot we can identify to attack in player props. And then as always with the DVP, I changed this up a little bit yesterday or 2 days ago, and I brought in these columns over here. So this is more fantasy information, and then this is more player prop information. Now what we have is it's going to be for the team over here, what that team allows. Excuse me. And then this is going to be the player that you're going to focus on because they are going up against the current said team on the left. So what we have points in the paint. This is the number of points in the paint they've allowed over the last 10 games. So we want a quick snapshot recently. We don't want to look at the season because all those kind of blend together. We want to see the last 10 games. How many points is this team allowing in the paint? And we have a wide range. We have 38.4 all the way up to 58.8. So that's a huge margin. And then of the total points allowed, we break that down into a percentage. So the percentage of points allowed, and we rank that from high to low, which is usually pretty close. But then when you get in games like this, you get teams that allow more points or not a lot of points, but that will identify it. And then we just rank them. So if you don't know if, hey, this team allows 50.6 points in the paint, I don't know, is that good or bad? You can say, okay, that's 21st. There's 30 NBA teams, 21st, they're in the bottom third. And then these are the three-point shots. So one of my favorite props to do is three-point made. And then so this shows you the rank of three-point made and then three-point attempted. There's a discrepancy depending upon what you look into, where some people use three-point attempts and some people use three-point shots made, and I'm kind of torn on which one is more beneficial. So I was like, hell with it. I'm going to put them both side by side so we can take a look at it. And you'll see 29 versus 30, 26 versus 25, 2 versus 3. So those are pretty close. We get a few that jump out like 7 to 11 and 18 to 22. This is one here, so 16 versus 9. So this is saying that Sacramento doesn't give up a lot of three-point attempts, but they allow the people to make them a lot. So it really depends on the shooter, but anyways, that's kind of what we're looking at. And then we rank the rebounds allowed per game. This is total rebounds over the last 10. And we do assist. I don't know if the assists really matter as far as the defensive side, but I put it in there. It's something else fun to look at and an extra feather in our cap. And if you're one of those wild and crazy addicted sports bettors who wants to take a look at free throws made, I had a recommendation from someone to bring in, the fouls per game and then free throw attempts allowed per team. So this is kind of fun, which you can see down here. So Minnesota is allowing the 29th most fouls per game over the last 10 and the most free throw attempts. So if you have someone on Sacramento who shoots a lot of free throws or gets fouled a lot, that would be a good spot to use that player in. So some of the spots we're going to look at, points in the paint, we're going to look for guys for Atlanta, the Pelicans, New York, and Memphis. Milwaukee and Minnesota, they also slide into there. As far as the three-point shots, anyone from Lakers, Magic, Pelicans, Sacramento, they're going to have the best opportunities. As far as rebounds, we're going to look for Memphis, Milwaukee, Dallas, Portland, Minnesota. Those are going to be the best rebounding opportunities. And then as far as assist pretty much the same thing. We got Orlando, Milwaukee, Indy, Sacramento, Dallas, kind of breaks them down. And some of these teams encompass all of them. I'm not going to do the fouls yet. I'm still doing some research on those. But what we're going to do, we're going to pull over this last 7 tab. As always, we're going to look at points, rebounds, assists, and PRA. We're going to sort the PRA from high to low. And so this is going to show what the player's projected at, and then what their average is the last 7, and we're sorting it by the difference so we can see the players that are high. Now, I've already filtered out the under 20-minute projected players so we don't waste a lot of time. So let's go ahead and take a look. So what I do is I just pull up Prize Picks, and I'm just going to start going down here and typing in names. So I know these players aren't in, but I'll type in Powell. Okay, we don't have anything. Jackson Hayes, we don't have anything. Anthony Davis, boom, we got a player. Then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to highlight him across the board, and I want to see, is it points? Is it rebounds? Is it assists? Where is his difference at? Well, assist is the same, but we have a big difference in rebounds and in points. So you can see he's projected at 21.5 points. Last 7, he's been averaging 29.3, so that would identify a points prop as a potential good play. And then also rebounds, he's projected at 11.5. He's been averaging 16.3. So almost 5 more rebounds than his projection, so that would be a potential good play. So when we go take a look at it, I love now that Prize Picks has this little tab up here where it shows you the last 5 games. So we can look at his points. It's 24.5. That's a little bit higher than his projection, but that's fine because he's been over that number, so I'm good with it. Over the last 5 games, we can see here he's averaging 29.2. with 28, 30, 30, 27, and 31. So playing over 24.5 is probably a likely good play. So that is how we identify plays using the sheet. Rebounds is another one that jumped out at us, and I love this one. So playing over 9.5 rebounds, he has 17, 17, and 15 over the last 3 games, and over the last 5, he's averaging 13.2. So 17, 17, 15, yeah. I'm going to take a shot on that one. That's one of my favorite plays, is just his rebound prop. And then if you want to do a secondary one, I like his points prop. And so that's kind of what we do. So let's speed this up. We're going to run down this list. And I know Malik's not out yet. I just checked him. Malik Monk is, but not Malik Beasley. LeBron, I'm going to stick over. Aaron Gordon's the next guy that comes up. So we come over here and we look at the differences. And so he's about the same across the board. +4, +3, +4, so a little bit of everything. So PRA is probably what I would look at. But let's check out his last 5 games. So points, he's up, up, down, up. So he's kind of sporadic all over the place. I like his rebounds prop, though, with 9, 6, 7, and then 4 and 5. 5 is a push, so we get a push. We lose by 1, but we're almost there. And then win, win, win. So I like Aaron Gordon over 5 rebounds. I think that's a pretty good one. And I like these low numbers that we can attack. And his PRA, that's kind of the same thing. So it's pretty similar to his points. He's over, over, under, over. So you could say if he goes over his points prop, he's probably going to go over on his PRA prop. They're trending about the same. So he's someone to take a look at if you are looking at him. Next, we're going to go down to Sadiq Bey. And he wasn't up earlier, so this will be a new one I get to look at. So +2, +0.9, and so his big difference is points of 7.6. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at his points. He's been over it in 4 of 5, so that's not terrible. His number is 16.5, and he's got over 21 in the last 3 in a 31-point game. So he's been sliding over that number by a decent margin, by about 3 possessions. So that's not a terrible play going up against Dallas. Dallas is a tough matchup. Oh, sorry. Dallas is a tough matchup, so there's always some risk with him. And then the next guy we come down to is Marquise Morris. And so I went from here. Now I'm just sliding down to Marquise Morris. And we're going to take a look at him. So he's got a huge difference in points, 15.9 to 24.5, and about the same over here. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at his points. And so he's been over in 3 of the last 4 games. What I like is his last 2 games, he has 49 combined points, and he's projected to get over 15.5. And in the game against Memphis, this has potential high scoring. They play fast. They score a lot of points. So I like Morris to go over his 15.5 points. I think that's pretty good. But that's kind of how we identify it. And you can flip through here and see if there's any other thing. His rebounds, I mean, that looks pretty solid as well. 875 the last 3 games. PRA number 3239. I might almost lean that instead, because you got 22.5 and he's skying over that number, so you get a little bit more wiggle room in there. And then Monty Morris we're not really looking at, so that's kind of how I go down through this. Now, I'm not going to waste your time going through every single one of these. I'm going to speed it up and just kind of show you the plays that I like, and we're going to go ahead and fly through these. So we went through those. The next guy that's going to pop up is going to be Julius Randle. So Julius Randle's points prop came up to me. He has 30 and 32 points, so he was in a rut. I don't know what was going on with him. He was struggling. The last 2 games, he's absolutely exploded. He does have a tougher matchup against Denver, but he has 62 points over his last 2 games, 30 and 32, and that was against Utah and Anthony Davis and the Lakers. So 18.5 I think is pretty good tonight. I think this line's going to eventually be back up to 20.5 in a couple of days if he keeps this up. So he's someone that we might want to take a shot on. And then moving on to the next guy, John Collins is one of my favorite plays tonight. And the reason is when we come over here and we look at this DVP last 10 and we sorted by points in the paint, largest to smallest. So over here, points in the paint, 58.8 points in the paint allowed, and that's 50% higher than any other team of the total points. It is worst in the NBA is what Indy's given up to Atlanta. And even fantasy-wise, it's a big spot for him. So I just want to look and see, is this player capable of capturing that DVP and, you know, capitalizing on it? So his points, I love that, 17.5. So he's got 22, 23, 19, and 20 in 4 of the last 5 games. So we need 18 tonight. He's consistently been going over that, so that's good. And then the DVP is kind of the extra nudge for me that puts it over and says, hey, I'm going to take that John Collins points in the paint DVP and I'm going to use it. Now, looking at some of his other stats, you know, rebounds, we're kind of up, we're down, we're way over, we're under. Assist, he doesn't really do a lot of. I like his PRA number 2 just because he gets a lot of rebounds, and so this could give you a little extra bonus in there. So his PRA over 27.5 and then points over 17.5 are the 2 that jumped out at me. It is a tough rebounding team. Indy doesn't give up a ton of rebounds. That's probably because everybody that gets inside the paint, they score, so they don't have a lot of opportunities for rebounds. But my first prop for Collins would be his points over 17.5. That's what I've locked in already. And then moving on, we have Mitchell Robinson. He popped up when I was flipping through stuff, and we were looking at his rebounds, and I thought it was kind of funny, 8.5 points, 8.5 rebounds. But when I looked at his rebounds, I'm like, oh my God, he's coming off of a 21 rebound game against Utah, and then he's got 11, 11, and 13 over the prior 4. So I love the over 8.5. That's one that jumped out at me that I went ahead and locked in on my first 4-team card. And then, as always, if you followed any of our videos and stuff, you kind of see the same players coming up. Like we rode Gary Trent points over for about 5 games. He was putting up 30 to 33, and they would always release it at like 17.5, and it'd be like, hammer. And then finally they got smart, went to 18.5, went to 19.5, and started moving it around a little bit, and then he missed it a couple of games, so he's kind of all over the place. But Tyrese Maxey, he's someone that we've always played his assist over 4.5. So today I looked him up and it's up to 5. But he's still 5-0 that number. 6, 6, 7, 8, 7. So, you know, 5 is a push. I haven't seen a game of 4 for a while. So Maxey over 5 assists, I'm going to go right back to it. I think that's one of the most solid plays on the board. He's averaging 6.8. And he's got the biggest man down low to dish the ball off to, so that should be assist all day. So until that gets to 5.5, I'm going to keep riding that number. And then some of the other guys that jumped out, or here, let me go ahead and show you my main card that I have right now. I don't want to stretch this video out too long. So I took the Maxey over 5 assists. He was the first one I did. And then I'm going to do the Anthony Davis rebounds prop over. And then I'm going to put the John Collins points in the paint prop over due to the DVP. And then we're going to go Mitchell Robinson rebounds over. And then if you want another one, Marcus Morris is someone, I can't remember if we went over him or not. If not, we'll go ahead and look at him again. So he came up as someone that's just been killing it lately. 49 points over the last two, 15.5 points. I think that's a good one if you want to put a fifth one in there. And then I don't mind his PRA number. Let me get over there. His PRA, he has 32 and 39 points, rebounds, and combined assists going up against Memphis. So 22.5 over. I don't mind that at all. Let's go ahead and put this one in. Oh, I got to take off the other one. So we're going to take off that. We're going to put his PRA in there. So these are the 4 overs that I'm going to do. I'm going to do Maxey over assist. I'm going to do Anthony Davis over 9.5 boards. Collins over 17.5 points. Mitchell Robinson over 8.5. And then if you want a fifth leg, Marcus Morris over 22.5 PRA. So that's what I've came up with so far, guys. Feel free to put anything down that you like in the comments and description. I love seeing the picks you have. Some of the guys in the chat use the cheat sheet and they find some strange ass plays, but they come through, they hit for them. So congratulations. Hopefully we can make you guys some money. Make sure to subscribe down below and give us your thoughts. Thanks, man.